Yo, what up guys, Ross Cops here, and in this video I'm reviewing Roadhouse. Alright, so in this movie, it's basically about an ex-UFC fighter named Dalton who takes a job as a bouncer at a Florida Keys roadhouse, only to discover that paradise isn't all that it seems. Now this movie is basically like a remake of the original, I think it came out in the 80s, the Roadhouse movie, and I'm not gonna lie, I watched these two movies back to back because I've never seen the first one. And I would say both of them are enjoyable in their own way. I think the older one leans more towards the bars and that aspect of it and actually being a bouncer, while this one, it takes a more kind of like I feel like a Baywatch movie and like a kind of like a Fast Furious John Wick. What I liked about it though is that it didn't try to just copy and paste the original Roadhouse movie. Like, yes, there's some similar elements. Like I said, he's a bouncer. He's moving towns to go to this place. He's getting paid. There's like a love interest and stuff like that is similar. But the way they execute it is different. And they also have their own like story kind of that they tell. It's kind of like a different take on it, which I personally liked. And I think both of these movies were good. After watching them back to back, I thought the first one was good. And I think this one's good for what it's going for too. And in this movie, you know, at the beginning, he's not a bouncer. He's just an ex-UFC fighter looking for money, trying to get fights to get money. And so in that regard, it was different. You know, he wasn't originally a bouncer, but also he was reluctant to be a bouncer. He was reluctant to do that kind of work, to leave. And he also had like a different personality in this one than the original. You know, in the original, he was more of like a calm, collected man who had some rules and tried to stick to them. But in this one, you know, he could go from very nice to kind of like a creepy killer in a way. Which, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with Jake Gyllenhaal. He carried this movie. He did very well. Like, I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. And, you know, he can do basically like any kind of role. And I think he kills it in this one. But yeah, I think his personality was different in this one. And I don't think it was a bad thing. And in this movie, they also have a few different villains. You know, there's one at the beginning of the movie. There's Conor McGregor, obviously, who's seen throughout the trailers. And he does great. Yeah, his acting and stuff might be a little off. But I just think his character was just fun. It was a fun character to watch. And when they were both on screen together, that's when it was like most exciting to watch. And so Connor did his part. You know, he was basically just the typical, I'm mad, I'm ticked, bad guy, you know, I'm going to get you. And then there was also another dude, you know, this generic playboy, you know, rich, stereotypical bad guy, right? And at first I was like, oh, they're going this route. But I mean, he was kind of fleshed out a little bit. Not a lot, but enough to where it didn't really bother me anymore. Along with that, I think there was a little more comedy in this one. And I don't know if all of it stuck. I think there were some scenes in here with the comedy, especially with one of the bikers. I don't know, it just kind of felt out of place in a way. I mean, I'm sure there's people who enjoy it. And I'm not going to say hate it, but it just felt a little out of place to me. I don't know, the comedy, I'd say it was either hit or miss for some people. You know, they also have a love story in here, which I don't think is done as good as the original. I think the original was better. Not saying that was great either, but at least in that one, you felt like the characters were characters, like real life. This one just feels like they were kind of forced together. And so I don't know. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but that's one thing I'd like nitpick on is that. But you know, Jake Gyllenhaal did good as Dalton. The fight scenes with him and Connor were good. And the fight scenes in general, they kind of moved around a lot during them, which I didn't mind. You know, I don't mind stuff like that, but I think some people might not like it. They like just straight up boom, boom, boom. But I mean, overall, this movie, I think you'll enjoy it. You know, it's not necessarily the most realistic movie, obviously. It's got some Fast and Furious elements, some cliche plots or characters in it. But overall, it was a fun movie, and I think you'll enjoy it. Anyways, guys, those are just my thoughts. Comment down below if you saw this and what your thoughts were. You know, I'd be very curious to see. But yeah, so comment down below. Thank you guys for watching another movie review. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.